Hello and welcome to the Geeks Review. I'm Royce.
And I'm Joshua.
Justice League. Initially released in 2017, this film was directed by Zack Snyder, the man behind the big screen comic book adaptations of 300, Watchmen, and Batman vs Superman. Snyder left the film late in production due to personal issues, and the reins were handed over to Joss Whedon, the creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and director of the first two Avengers movies. With a comparatively brisk 2-hour runtime and a vibrant colour palette, it stood in contrast to the usual moody, nihilistic 3-hour think pieces Snyder usually makes. However, when the home release came around and there was no director's cut, as Snyder's films tend to get, fans took their anger online with the hashtag Release the Snyder Cut. As the years went on, the thing became more of a bad joke than anything, and discussions around it were focused more on toxic fan entitlement, opposed to seeing a director's artistic vision realised. However, amidst the pandemic, Warner Bros. Announced it had given Zack Snyder free rein and a truckload of money to bring the film to completion, and now it's available in its 4-hour glory to watch on streaming services like Foxtel and Binge.
It's on Binge Watch here.
And it's also on Foxtel for free.
It's on Foxtel on free.
Free.
And if you are clever enough, it's on HBO Max, where it was originally launched.
True. So, Zack Snyder's Justice League is better than Joss Whedon's Justice League in the way that finding one cat poo in your bed is better than finding two. Except as he's scooping up the one cat poo, Jared Leto bursts in, knocks the scoop from your hand and starts smearing the poo into the bedding. The 4-hour runtime is twice the length of the original, and while it does greatly expand upon what was there before, characters such as Cyborg, The Flash, and Steppenwolf get a lot more development and character. It kind of begs the question as to why it needed to be this long, especially for only the third film really in this series of Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, suddenly 4-hour Justice League. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Visually, this is a fantastic film. Lengthwise,
it is very long.
It is a long film, and I mean, I almost felt like I was watching the old long films from bygone days, Lawrence of Arabia, Fistful of Dollars and all that. We'll get into that probably a bit later.
Yeah.
I do appreciate more screen time for Cyborg, The Flash, and Steppenwolf, especially Steppenwolf, because he just looks so much better, and there's a lot more to him than conquer.
Steppenwolf is voiced by a veteran Irish actor, Ciarán Hinds. You might know him from Rome, from The Terror, as well as a brief appearance in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
While he has a lot more to work with here, he's not going on about his mother all the time like he was in the Joss Whedon version.
No. And by mother, he means mother boxes.
Yeah, which is the big MacGuffin within this movie. His voice is just so heavily modulated, it's almost like, why did they bother having an actor like him at all? I mean, he's not like a massively known actor like, your Ian McKellens or, your Michael Gambons, but he's there, he's up there. Yeah. He was even in Harry Potter, he played Dumbledore's brother. But it's kind of like they've disguised him so much you can't even tell it's him.
That's one of the flaws with this. They really go for the alien appearance with the Apocalyptans.
Yes, they're very alien, which we'll get to them in a little bit.
The only one that isn't alien-looking is the one human standing next to Darkseid, Granny Goodness. And even then, the CG's just... Ugh.
And even then, you don't even really get to see her.
No, it doesn't even talk. It's like, you have Granny Goodness on the screen. She and Steppenwolf hate each other. Why? Missed opportunity there.
To try and explain this story, I mean, within Batman vs Superman, which came back a long time ago in 2016.
Geez, oh my god.
Superman died by the hands of the villain Doomsday, which was a genetic mutation of General Zod created by Lex Luthor. He was killed and it basically sent out a message across the universe that Earth is unprotected. Come take it while it's free. Meanwhile, Batman, Bruce Wayne, played by Ben Affleck, is travelling around the world trying to find all these metahumans, from The Flash to Aquaman, who are characters we've seen. I mean, we saw The Flash, played by Ezra Miller, in the original Justice League. Jason Momoa's Aquaman has gone and had his own film now, so it's quite strange to hear them talking about things which come into play in a movie that's already been out for 2 years,
and
3 years.
At the same time, there's a bit more of him here.
Yeah, he's sort of didn't feel as prominent in this one compared to Whedon's. I mean, he got a bit of jokes here and there, which were a bit... The thing with this is that, Joss Whedon, he's very much known for his style, his quippy style. And a lot of people were really down on that because Snyder's stuff is quite, dour. I guess that's one word for it. So this was going to be, get rid of all the Whedon stuff. This is all Zack Snyder's vision.
All the stuff that he originally filmed and more.
And more. And a lot of the stuff that people thought was not good and Whedon's fault is still here.
Yes.
So it's all Snyder.
Well, how much is Snyder and how much was Whedon? We don't know now because unless you watch these films back to back, and I don't recommend it.
No.
Mainly for the strain on your brain and your eyes.
Yeah.
It is very hard to tell. Mind you, people are doing videos about 11 minutes long and others that on the internet comparing the two. So...
Well, here's the thing. I don't think he was allowed to use any Whedon stuff for this. So
no.
None of it's Whedon.
Yeah, it is the Snyder cut.
Yeah. I mean, people have said, there's comparisons of even, line readings are better in the Whedon version, which could have just been your traditional reshoots of, oh, you fumbled your line, let's go back and redo that.
Yeah.
But they couldn't do that with this Snyder cut, so, I mean,
I did
5
think
years
some
after
of
the
the
fact.
reads were good.
It's very grand, though. I mean, characters like Wonder Woman don't get much chance to really do anything. She's just sort of there. I mean, even Batman, it was just like, oh, yeah, that's Batman. He hasn't really done anything.
No, it's definitely more focused on the stuff that he did with Cyborg and Flash that was originally there, and what's there for those two is actually really good.
Yeah.
And surprisingly.
Yeah, it's not groundbreaking, but it's nice because we finally get to figure out who these characters are.
Yeah, we have a sense of their character, so to speak.
They actually have character.
I know.
It really puts into contrast because, I mean, Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher, was a football star who was involved in a car accident, as we come to learn. 2 car accidents in this film, considering this is in a car film.
Yeah.
That's a lot of car crashes.
Well, I mean, the Whedon cut did gloss over what happened to Victor.
And completely changed. He's really messed up. He's missing his entire lower torso and his arms. And he's rebuilt by this Mother Box's MacGuffin, which reshapes kind of reality. It reshapes matter.
Yes, yeah. It alters matter to the will of the user.
Yeah, so, I mean, the bad guy wants to use it to cleanse the earth.
A lot different from what Mother Boxes were in the comics.
Terraformers in the original film cut of this. What are they in the comics?
Mother Boxes... So there's Mother Boxes and Father Boxes. Mm-hmm. One is good, one is evil. And they're mostly used for summoning boom tubes, which is those huge white tunnels we see Steppenwolf come out of.
Right, so they're pretty limited.
But they also have other features. Again, they are, even in the comics, they're a MacGuffin. They can do what you want them to do at the time.
Yeah, to serve the purposes of the plot. Yeah.
Yes. But they're mostly... People from New Genesis use Mother Boxes. People from Apocalypse use Father Boxes.
It's
and
explained
DC fans,
a lot.
feel free to correct me.
Yeah, it's explained a lot better in this one, but it is a symptom of this film being 4 hours. It has the time to do so. And trying to cut that down into the 2-hour film means a lot of stuff was cut out if you're trying to keep the big action scenes.
Bingo.
And yeah, you were quite like a defender of the Batman vs Superman 3.5 hour long cut.
Yes.
Because it added a lot.
It added, even that half an hour that we got made the film make sense. And I hate films that need to have that, but I also do quite enjoy them. A good example would be Blade Runner. I've only ever seen the director's cut of the original Blade Runner, and I will swear up and down about Blade Runner. I love Blade Runner. Batman vs Superman is definitely a good case of, do we really need director's cuts, but they also really need them at the same time. But then you look at Suicide Squad, which did get a director's cut. That, no matter which way you slice it, was a bad film.
Yeah, well, director's cut we used. I mean, there's a lot of call now for the David Ayer cut. He was the director of that. He was known for the tank movie Fury with Brad Pitt.
Yes.
And End of Watch and sort of cop movies, war movies.
David Ayer is, from what I've heard, a good director. It's just, we also need to, this comes back to an argument we had a long time ago on the show, studio involvement versus what the director can actually do.
And they're giving a lot more, they gave Zack Snyder 4 hours
complete
to do this.
Freedom to do this, and as much as I would like to say this is a better film, and it sadly kind of is in some regards, it's not the product that we really should have gotten. 4 hours is a very long time to commit to.
It's like, does anyone want this? Really? I mean, like, Snyder has his fans, but it's kind of like, is this the Justice League we really want? I mean, Avengers is kind of like, you get an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's Avengers.
Minus Age of Ultron.
Yeah, minus that.
And I'll take any opportunity to crap on Age of Ultron. But, yeah, agreeing with you on the Justice League here, it fits Snyder's tone, but it doesn't fit the DC tone.
Yeah.
DC isn't all dark, grit, brrr, I'm so alone type of deals. There's actually a lot of lighter material out there. A lot of people forget that DC stands for Detective Comics. It's not all just noir.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want noir, go read Constantine, go read Question, go read the good Batmans from the past, you know, or even the Atom. But like most companies, there's a lot of varied genres, and I'm afraid if Justice League doesn't match the tone of what I would perceive to be DC.
Yeah, but it has really been shaped that while for a long time. I mean, Christopher Nolan came along in 2005. He made Batman Begins, which was a grounded take on Batman, which at the time was somewhat revolutionary. Everything was still very slick. I mean, but this is Batman. This is the guy with the Batmobile, with the Batcopter, with the Bat spray. You know, he's got all that stuff.
Nothing leaves the cave without it.
Yeah, it made sense. And then it was like people looked at that and went, "Oh, grim, dark." And then, you know, Snyder went and made 300, which is a very grim, you know, retelling of like the 300 Spartans.
Yeah, based on the comic series.
Based on the Frank Miller comic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, Watchmen is like a deconstruction, and he sort of missed the point with that. You know, it's sort of like gave them all superpowers anyway, when normally they're in the comics of that, they're just meant to be sad, you know, lonely, pathetic people who beat up people because they can't overcome their daddy issues. A lot more overt.
Let's not dig into those wounds.
Yeah, it was a lot more revolutionary back in 1985. Say that much. But yeah, with this, it's, you said you wanted the end of Man of Steel to see the Boy Scout to become the Boy Scout, and he never did.
I did, yes. And even now, he's still not... He's evolving as a character, which is great. We're seeing some evolution, but...
He's Henry Cavill as Superman. He's not really in this film that much at all. I mean, he's dead. They bring him back to life.
But and even then, he's not there, and they have to use shots from, well, from the original.
Well, the whole Whedon thing was, you know, okay, so at the time, Henry Cavill was contractually obligated to appear in the Mission Impossible movie where he had to have a moustache, and
they refused to shave it.
Well, they wouldn't let him shave the moustache. The company making Mission Impossible said no, he's not allowed to do it because, you know, so they had to like
CG. It was a glorious moustache, though.
They had to like replace his face with computer graphics, and they only had like a limited time to do this, and it looks horrible. And they went and added a bunch of scenes to kind of add more content and stuff for him to do, which is really apparently lacking in this version, as he doesn't say or do much, but it was, I think, a bit more effective. You know, he's not all, you know, tell me, do you bleed?
He's not all there as someone who had just been resurrected would be.
Yeah. That's the thing, is they establish that he gets his memory back when he sees his love, Lois Lane, who does nothing in this film.
Yeah. She just kind of mopes.
That kind of establishes, you know, his memory doesn't come back to then, but then in the Whedon cut, he's reciting back very specific lines that Batman said to him. He's paraphrasing, you know, stuff back, which suggests that he's got his memory there. And it's sort of like, okay, well, why is he trying to kill them all then? If he is all there. Yeah, that was a plot hole introduced by Whedon's version, I say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is a better film, but it's like, is it worth watching? No.
It's definitely a film that you either need to be an avid Snyder fan, which sadly I'm not. I'm just a casual goer.
Yeah.
And the runtime will definitely turn people away from this.
There's better things you could do with 4 hours. You know, there's so many better things you could watch. Better movies, better TV shows.
I hate to say it, but I have a dual monitor set up at home. And while I was watching it, I just went, nope, second monitor. And and I bought up a game that wouldn't take away my attention too much. So I could keep watching. And it's just, A film shouldn't be able to do that. You should be able to it should grip you. It should be able to, for however long the runtime is, even though 4 hours is extremely long.
Yeah.
It should take you away from reality until the credits roll.
Yeah.
You should be able to forget where you are and just enjoy a film.
It's like, there's stuff that's better, that is expanded, but it's kind of like, well, we've already seen this. Who cares if there's like an extra second, which...
We've seen this. Oh, look, Martian Manhunter's in this. Awesome.
Oh my god, okay. Yeah, we'll get to the ending in a minute.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where Wonder Woman, they're fighting the bad guys in like this, in this place. And she's falling, and her sword has slipped from her grip. And
yes.
In the Whedon version, there's one of the big bad guys behind her is about to, grab and kill her. And her sword is out of reach, and it's kind of like, she's defenseless. Flash can move faster at the speed of light. He can actually move so fast he travels back in time.
Forward.
Or forwards, yeah. He runs and he's running, and it's like that Renaissance painting, the God touching man's finger. Yeah. I can't remember the name of it, but you know the one. And he touches the sword and like knocks it back into her hand. And in the Whedon cut, she spins around, she slashes the villain in half, and she lands, and she's all good. In this version, they removed the villain, and then she just lands on the ground. It's not like it was an abyss. She just lands on the floor, and there's like no reason that she needed to grab her sword in the first place. It's stupid stuff like that.
There's a lot of stupid stuff in this film, but again, it's take what you will of it.
It's deified. It's like it's larger than life, and it's like you can't connect with them. What do you think about the added blood? Because it's thumbs up, hey?
Thumbs up.
I mean, it makes sense if you throw a man at terminal velocity into a concrete wall, there's going to be a blood splat.
Yeah.
But for me, it kind of felt like it's so little. Is it really needed?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, a lot of these people do have major head injuries. DC for head injury and major trauma, go for it.
There's an Atlantean who gets like his head knocked out, and there's a lot of blood, and he's just there still talking, and it's like, are you okay? There's a lot of blood on that rock there.
Is the concussion all good? Are you feeling all right there, Steve? That's actors coming in for their old scenes, if they reshot them or if they were adding them back in with William Dafoe for the Atlantis scenes, and he's only in like 2.
Yeah, Amber Heard's Mira is a bit... Ooh. Did she have an accent in Aquaman? I don't remember it.
I don't remember Aquaman.
Oh. That's unfortunately something that Zack Snyder has said. He said, like, I think it's really great that they're going in this direction and then doing all this stuff, and Jason Momoa can have all the Aquaman films that he deserves, but do you remember Aquaman? No, you remember Batman versus Superman. I'm like, yeah, because it was shit. It was bad.
I remember...
And I'm asking myself, why did that happen? That's why I remember it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Batman vs. Superman, that's a whole mess of a different other topic, and we've probably covered that to death. However, oh my god, I don't remember. Damn you, Snyder!
The reshoot. These were the more obvious reshooted scenes.
All on green screen.
Yes, and apparently, like, none of them were because obviously COVID, they shot them all separately and put them together later. Which is cool. It can work,
It can.
Batman keeps having nightmares of Superman gone bad. Also, as well, we get a big battle in the middle of the film where we see like a historic battle between, the forces of Atlantis combined with Themyscira, the Greek gods, as well as man taking on Darkseid, the big bad villain,
and a Green Lantern.
Yeah, and a Green Lantern. What did you think of Darkseid himself, or Darkseid?
Darkseid.
Yeah.
It's Darkseid. It's spelled Darkseid, but it's Darkseid. I do like the design. However, I am still not 100% on the voice. You can get any moron with a deep voice and gobble it up, just like with Steppenwolf. Sorry.
Yeah.
But to me, Darkseid will always be Michael Ironside.
Yeah. I mean, they've gone and cast some Shakespearean theatre actor, and it's kind of like, well, who is he?
Don't get me wrong. Darkseid is a very tempestuous and well-spoken individual, but he's also gotta be intimidating, and looks won't do that alone.
He looks like Thanos from a distance. He even gets taken out, but like Thanos does. I mean, Ares, the god of war, played by David Thewlis, Lupin, with his head superimposed on a muscle man, hits Darkseid with an axe in the right shoulder, which is exactly what Thor did to Thanos at the end of Avengers Infinity War, which just made me think that's a 3-hour movie I'd rather be watching. You know, and
I didn't even like Infinity War that much.
Neither, no. I liked Endgame more, but that's a controversial opinion even there. But yeah. So yeah, okay, that leads into the whole Batman having nightmares of an evil Superman. It's because, you know, Darkseid comes along and he ravages the Earth, and Superman turns bad because Lois Lane is killed, and Harley Quinn is dead, Wonder Woman's dead, the Flash and Cyborg is still there, and Mera's there, and Mira, whatever. And the Joker's there, played by Jared Leto, and thoughts?
You also forgot Slade Wilson. So Leto's a little bit more tolerable here.
Really?
I felt a genuine loathing rather than, oh my god, what are they doing with this pale-skinned, green-haired gigolo?
Juggalo, not gigolo.
Whatever.
It's semantics.
But the, trying to keep this a little PG. He's actually a bit more tolerable here.
Yeah.
I do feel the genuine loathing someone could have for the Joker here, while with, you know, someone like Mark Hamill, Heath Ledger, hell, even John DiMaggio, you're kind of just rooting for him.
He's contemptible, but not in the way you kind of want the Joker to be. I mean, I guess maybe the Joker's been, you know, deified and sort of mystified, and sort of, you know, a lot of people who should not like the Joker. But the Joker's just meant to be like he's a clever villain, you know, and you enjoy listening to his monologues.
He's smart, but he's also crazy.
But this, I don't know, it just was like, I really don't care, go away.
Yeah.
And then Batman's like, I will effing kill you. And it's like, well, just do it already, you know. You don't need him. This is...
TikTok, Bruce, we've been waiting, I don't know, about nearly 80 years.
Yeah, I mean, you killed Robin. He killed Robin, you know.
Hey, Robin.
And if Batgirl is in this universe, they're toying with that, maybe he shot her as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's like... I don't know. They grunged him up, so he sort of makes more sense when you put him up against, you know, a grungy Batman, but it just doesn't gel still.
No. I mean, it's a bit more tolerable, but at the same time, that's just a personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, what if it was an entire film of him? You know, like, oh, Batman, oh.
Well, if they gave him an entire film, then I'll get back to you on that one.
Final thoughts?
Strap in, kids, if you really want to watch this.
At least you can hit pause.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go out and see this in a cinema, apparently they've had intermissions added halfway through.
Oh, thank the Lord.
So you can go get a drink and have a, you know, go to the loo. But this is just...
I was about to say I had to take 2 breaks while watching this. That was it.
Oh, wow. Well, I watched this in segments, and it was just kind of like... I will say, actually, discussions of, like, you know, depictions of women in Snyder's films has always been a bit iffy.
He's also got a very iffy opinion and attitude when it comes to how he's portrayed women, and that's always come up in mired controversy since Sucker Punch.
Yeah, I'm kind of... I don't know whether to like or dislike him, because apparently, like, he's a really nice person, but you hear some of his views and opinions, it's kind of like... Well, he's not even really talked about him, but he's just like, I subscribe to these beliefs, and it's like, well, that's a bit iffy, whatever. But yeah, so with his previous films, yeah, it's been a lot of cleavage and upskirts and all that stuff. And there was a gratuitous slow motion shot with Wonder Woman in the Whedon one, where you see, you know, up the skirt and all that, and it just zips by in this. It's like, you don't have time to see it. It's like, that's not the focus here. It's her kicking terrorists to death, you know. And there were gratuitous ass shots, I remember, in the Whedon cut. It's like Batman's disembarking from a plane and her bum is taking up half the screen. Literally half the screen. Completely gone as well from this. So that was kind of like, okay, you're not just being assaulted with that. A lot of abs, though. I mean, Henry Cavill, a lot of muscles.
Well, you also need to don't remember 300.
Yes, yeah, a lot of abs there. Gerard Butler and Michael Fassbender and all the other 298, and the Persians.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. This film, though, yeah, it is better, but at what cost?
Yeah.
It's free.
It's free.
If you're on Foxtel and Binge.
This is like, well, you got to pay for Binge.
Yeah.
This is a classic monkey's paw wish happened. We wished for the Snyder Cut to be released, but the turkey's a little dry.
Would you like to see any sort of future stuff from this, or are you just done with it? Do you want to just see new stuff? Like more Birds of Prey, more Shazam, more that sort of stuff? Or do you want to see a future Darkseid, evil Superman?
I wouldn't mind seeing that stuff. I mean, Darkseid's probably one of my favorite DC villains because he is this grandiose, world-ending threat, and there are many, many timelines in the comics where he wins, and it's just brutal. But I honestly think DC's saving grace will be if they focus away from the Trinity. Move away from Batman, move away from Wonder Woman, move away from Superman, and have them in a pre-existing world, but focus on, the lesser-known heroes. Like, we recently found out today that they've picked Emerald Fennell to...
Emerald Fennell, who's a director of...
Fennell, yep.
Writer of the Promising Young Woman movie, which I haven't seen, heard good things, but apparently a bit of a dark-toned film. But yeah, she's doing Zatanna.
She's been picked for Zatanna.
Who is a sort of magician character, which is
She
really...
is.
She's sort of more... She's well-known among comic fans, but really, like, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone outside the hardcore comic fans who'd know who she is.
People have watched Smallville.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
And
some of the cartoon watchers.
Yeah.
That's about it, really.
It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see. And,
last I did hear, they were looking at maybe doing Blue Beetle.
Oh, yeah. Well, we better wrap this up.
Yes.
But yes, it'll be interesting to see.
Strap in, see what happens. DC's definitely still on teetering over the edge again when it comes to their films. Marvel...
Looking forward to the Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn, though.
We'll see how that goes. I am actually a bit more... I am a bit excited for that one. Mainly because it's got Idris Elba, and Idris Elba's great.
Oh, and Peter Capaldi as well.
Yes.
John Cena, and Sean Gunn, who's, from Gilmore Girls, and he's obviously James Gunn's brother. He played Rocket Raccoon on set. He's playing a character called Weasel, who's a giant weasel man. It just looks disgusting. But really funny and really cool looking. But anyway, that was our thoughts on the Justice League, the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah, make up your own mind.
It's a bit rambly, but this is a rambly film.
Yeah, it is very much so, just very disconnected. Anyway, I'm Royce.
And I'm Joshua.
And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.